That free trial. Okay. Before class today, I walked past a trash can outside the dining hall and it was overflowing with plastic cups, bottles, and utensils. I stopped and looked at it for a second. Almost everything in that bin had been used for maybe 10 minutes before being thrown away. By the end of the week, all of that will be buried in a landfill, and some of it might even wash into the ocean. That moment made me wonder how much of this could be prevented if every student made one simple change. Single use plastics have become part of our daily routine. We grab them, use them, and toss them without thinking. But the problem goes far beyond what we see. The Environmental Protection Agency reports that the United States produces over 30 million tons of plastic waste every year, and only a small fraction is actually recycled. The rest ends up in landfills or breaks down into small pieces that harm animals and pollute the environment. On our own campus, that same waste fills dumpsters, clogs drains, and costs money to remove. This is not just a global issue happening somewhere else, it's right here around us. As college students, we see the results of our actions every day. Plastic bottles on the grass, disposable cups in the hallways, and utensils scattered near the parking lots all add up. It may not look like a crisis at first, but over time it becomes our responsibility and our problem. So, what can we do about it? The answer is easier than you might think. We can start by using reusable bottles, cups, and utensils instead of disposable ones. National Geographic explains that reducing plastic at the source is the best way to cut pollution because recycling systems cannot keep up with the amount of waste we produce. Reusable products last longer, save money, and reduce how much trash we create. If every student used just one refillable bottle instead of buying plastic ones, we could stop thousands of bottles from being thrown away each semester. I understand that remembering to bring a bottle or a cup can be annoying at first. I used to forget mine all the time, but once I started putting it in my backpack each night, it became a habit. Most dining halls, coffee shops, and most dining halls and coffee shops on campus already have refill stations, and some even offer discounts for using your own cup. The effort is small, but the impact adds up. The impact adds up quickly. A study published in the Journal of Environmental Education found that college students join short-term sustainability challenge that when college students join short-term sustainability challenges, their plastic waste drops noticeably, and many of them keep those habits long after the challenge ends. That proves small actions can lead to lasting change. Now picture two versions of our campus. In one version, nothing changes. Trash cans overflow, walkways are scattered with cups, and bins are packed after every event. In the other version, students carry bottles, refill stations are busy, and the campus stays clean. It looks better, feels better, and reflects a community that cares. This is not just a dream, it's a real possibility, and it starts with all of us. So here's my challenge to everyone listening. Starting this week, carry a reusable bottle or cup with you to class, to the gym, or wherever you go. Try it for 2 weeks. Make it fun. Get your friends to join. Compare how many bottles you avoided using and spread it to others. One small decision every day can create a ripple effect across the entire campus. To finish, I want you to think about this. Every plastic bottle or cup we throw away will still exist long after we are gone. It does not just vanish, it just becomes someone else's problem. But when we choose to reuse what we already have, we take control of the solution. We make our environment cleaner and our campus a better place to live and a better place to learn. Change does not have to start big. It can start it can start right here with us, one refill at a time. Thank you. Is that it? Wait, no, you guys have to ask me questions.
Okay. How do you think FAU can improve like recycling on campus?
We could get reusable cups, Stanleys, and like hydro flasks. I think those are definitely great options.
Um, sh should everyone commit to using reusable water bottles and storage bins to help protect the environment?
Yep. Yeah, I think so. I think that's a great idea.
What personally made you interested in this topic?
Um, I want to see a change in the environment. I really care about the environment and like trees and stuff. They're really important to like the earth.
Do you know like any clubs or like associations that like do any like plastic like like any volunteer work that you would be interested in, or if you know any that you would recommend for people that are interested in taking action?
Yeah, yeah, actually. I think um the Hope Foundation. I think that's a really good one you can check out. They uh they plant trees, and also the Mr. Beast Plant a Tree Foundation. There's a YouTube video you can watch on them planting trees and saving plastic and um saving the environment really. I think that's what it's all about. So check those out if you're interested. Good. Am I good?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so I did mine on why people should be more open to getting vaccines and vaccinating their children. So every year, vaccines prevent an estimated 4 to 5 billion deaths worldwide. Even with this evidence, many people still think that vaccines are harmful and that they contribute to many autoimmune diseases and autism. So I'm gonna tell you guys today how that actually does it and how it actually has a benefit on everyone's health. So my call to action is that vaccines greatly benefit the spread of diseases, especially within children, since children are always putting their hands in their mouth and always around other children at school, they're more susceptible to get certain diseases without having vaccines. So I believe that vaccinating children is a crucial step in protecting not only their health, but the overall health of the community. And it also benefits from diseases to not be spread, especially within schools. Like when we saw with COVID, it was our schools had to get shut down. So that shows that diseases definitely spread among schools and in younger children. And then with like the flu each year, you see it very common in children that are around other children every day of the week. So, my first reason is that studies show that vaccines actually protect children from life-threatening diseases. For example, according to the National Foundation of Infectious Diseases, as many as 2,000 children have gotten this sickness whooping cough, which is a super bad cough that is within their lungs. And most children actually get this from their parents that weren't vaccinated as children and kind of have the gene as in their body, and that's how they mostly get it. And on this, with the National Foundation for Infectious Diseases actually stated that in the US, 9,000 children die each year from the disease whooping cough that they actually do get from their parents. Another reason is that vaccines can help from the spreading of sickness, which many kids do spread sicknesses to their parents or to the kids that are around them. So one vaccine, the MMR vaccine, um, it shows that 90%, if 95% of children got this vaccine, it could stop measles from being spread. And according to Cleveland Clinic, this is like one type of shot, the MMR vaccine, that actually covers three different diseases that could be deadly to children. And then a lot of studies actually show that vaccines are perfectly safe to give to children. According to the Disease Control Prevention, says that vaccines have no relation to autism and many other conditions such as autoimmune diseases that most parents are afraid that vaccines do cause to their children. Um, I just have always heard people saying that that's the direct relation to autism, which it is proven not by many of these places such as the disease control and prevention. Um, on the other hand, like I said, most parents don't vaccinate their children nowadays because they do believe it has a direct relation to autism and autoimmune disorders, which many scientists and scientific research has shown that it has no relation at all and that it actually doesn't relate. And by getting these vaccines, it actually benefits your children more than not. So, my conclusion is that vaccines should be seen as a social responsibility to keep our community safe. Every vaccine not only prevents the person that is physically getting the vaccine, but it could help everyone around us to ensure a safer community. Requiring these life-threatening vaccines, I believe, would be the smartest thing to do to, again, prevent another COVID-19 or another disease like that from going on or happening in the future. And also, it could help like the flu, how we have bad flu seasons every year, and that's because most people don't receive the flu vaccine. So I believe if people start getting these vaccines and being more aware of how they can actually protect our community, it would help us to have a safer community and everyone to be healthier.
I'll start with the questions.
Okay.
Um, so, sh what are the long-term benefits of being more accepting of vaccines?
The long-term benefits is that you'll be healthier overall. Like I said, many parents that didn't get that one vaccine that has a relation with the whooping cough can actually spread that to their children. So I think if most parents are more or get vaccinated and stuff, it can actually help their children be safer because they won't directly spread the disease that they have to their children.
I can go next. Do you think on social media they're like promoting more of a push for children not to get vaccines, or do you think that they're promoting like less of a push for vaccines?
I feel like social media kind of pushes people away from it because they post like again how like people it causes autism and autoimmune disorders, which it doesn't. Because I feel like a lot of the parents, like newer parents now that are having children, don't believe in vaccines. So I feel like that has a direct relation with social media.
How do you feel about vaccines not being required to attend public schools?
I feel that if they were required, more people would obviously have to get them because they want their children to go to school. And I feel like that could help as like, I feel like in schools and stuff, and I work with kids, so I know they're always sick. And I feel like that's because they're always around children. So, say one kid is vaccinated, but the kid that they're playing with isn't, they could also get sick due to the kid not being vaccinated. So, I think overall, it would be safer if everyone was required to get it for school.
Carson,
Um,
ask
yeah,
him. Sorry.
yeah, yeah, I was on it. What specific vaccine would you recommend?
I feel like the MMR one is really good because it has like the three components. And I feel like the one for chickenpox too, because that is very common in like younger children. And yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm doing mine about how gender stereotypes harm everybody. So imagine a little boy who falls and starts to cry. Instead of comfort, he hears, "Don't cry, be a man." Or think of a little girl who speaks her mind and is told she's too bossy. From the moment we are young, society teaches us that what's acceptable for our gender. And often those messages do more harm than good. Gender stereotypes are everywhere. They're in the way we talk and the expectations we set. But these stereotypes don't just limit women, they also deeply affect men. That's why today I want to show you how gender norms harm everyone by limiting emotional expression, restricting opportunities, and reinforcing unhealthy power dynamics. From a young age, boys are often told that showing emotion is a sign of weakness. In his article, Talking to Boys the Way We Talk to Girls, Andrew Raniere explains how many boys grow up believing they have to hide their emotions to be accepted. Over time, that emotional suppression can turn into loneliness, anger, and even depression. In fact, research shows that men are less likely to seek mental health help and have a higher suicide rates. On the other hand, women are often expected to always be caring, gentle, and understanding, even when it hurts them. Studies in psychology show that women who feel pressured to care for others constantly often experience emotional burnout and stress. When we define emotions by gender, telling men not to feel and women to feel too much, nobody wins. But the problem doesn't stop with emotions. Gender norms also limit what people believe they can achieve. For men, there's often a stigma around choosing nurturing or feminine careers. Jobs like nursing, teaching, or childcare are often seen as less masculine, even though these fields that rely on compassion and communication qualities that benefit everyone. Labor research shows that less than 15% of nurses and elementary school teachers are men. For women, gender stereotypes work in the opposite way, discouraging leadership or ambition. In Sandra Criscio's story, Only Daughter, she shares how her father dismissed her dream of being a writer because he believed her real goal should be marriage. That mindset still exists today when women in STEM and leadership positions continue to face bias and skepticism simply because of outdated gender expectations. When people are pushed away from their true passions because of stereotypes, society loses out on their potential and equality suffers. Finally, gender norms reinforce unhealthy power dynamics that hurt both relationships and communities. Toxic masculinity tells men that to be respected and they must be dominant and emotionless. Research links this mindset to aggression, controlling behavior, and even gender-based violence. Meanwhile, women are pressured to be submissive, self-sacrificing, and endlessly forgiving. Ideals that lead to low self-esteem and unhealthy relationships. When men feel pressured to dominate and women feel pressured to please, both sides lose. These power imbalances create tension, resentment, and inequality that affect everyone, not just individuals, but entire societies. So what can we do? First, we can start by reflecting on our own behavior. Think about phrases we use, like boys will be boys, or that's not ladylike. These may seem harmless, but they reinforce stereotypes that shape how people see themselves. Second, we can speak up, challenge stereotypes when you hear them, whether it's in your home, workplace, or classroom. And finally, we can support education and media that show men and women in diverse, authentic roles. Gender stereotypes may seem small, but their effects are powerful. They shape our emotions, our ambitions, and our relationships. Most traditional gender norms harm both men and women by limiting who we are and what we can become. So imagine a world where no one is told to man up or act like a lady. A world where everyone is free to express themselves fully and pursue their dreams without fear or judgment. That world starts with each of us noticing, speaking up, and choosing equality over expectation. Thank you. And I'll start with questions.
Okay, I'll go first. Do you think that now, like in our day in society, like social media has a big effect on gender norms and stuff like that?
I think it does in the way how girls are supposed to present themselves a certain way and how boys should present themselves as well. And I do think that social media does influence a lot of like gender norms and everything like that.
Okay, I can go next. Have you ever like personally had someone like make a comment to you that kind of like, I guess, influenced like a gender stereotype on you?
Yes, I have multiple times like in where I used to work, like older there was like I used to work in a restaurant, so like servers, like men servers would like just not listen to me because they would only listen to like the male hostesses. Like, so it has happened to me and I've seen it happen to men as well.
How would you spread awareness about gender norms to like people, like college students?
I think like a good way is like either like starting a club or something, just getting it out like on social media wise, because that tends to get spread to a lot more people than just me talking about it. But yeah.
Carson, you gotta go.
Sorry. Uh, do you, what do you think about people who would rather be a different gender? And do you think that affects gender norms?
Um, I don't really know how to answer that question, but I would say that somebody who wants to be a different gender will take on the gender norms of how of the gender that they would want to be. Like saying like a woman turns into a male, they'll want to be more dominant in that type of way. So I do think like even with people that want to like switch their gender or whatever, it would still like affect them as well. But thank you.
Imagine if societies around the world simply decided to close the gender gap in employment. Doing so can significantly increase the GDP of many countries by 20%, according to Reuters. My call to action is by speaking up against discrimination, supporting equal opportunities, and teaching others the value of respect. Together, we can build a future where no gender um, has limits to its potentials. Equality starts with all of us, and it starts now. Gender equality is not just a moral value or belief, it's a practical necessity. Societies that empower all genders experience faster economic growth, stronger establishments, encourage more educated ways of living. Ignoring gender equality limits potential and social process for everyone. When labor force compromises both women and men, companies tend to support better financially. According to the journal Entrepreneurial Business and Economics Review, it states one of the studies showed that the macroeconomic impact can be significant when securing equal rights. For example, when women have equal rights, fair pay, and opportunities, everyone benefits. Under these conditions of equality in the workplace, by 2050, there could be an additional 10.5 million jobs. When people contribute, more work is being done. This could mean more money is being earned for companies and more progress is being made. In Europe, there is a 15.7% gender pay gap, while the employment rate difference is 11.6. When women are involved less, the overall economy loses productivity and innovation potential. Bridging these gaps can not only promote fairness, but can strengthen the workforce and economic stability across the world. To continue, governments with women in power tend to be less corrupt and more transparent. According to the article from Cambridge, women are less likely to be involved in a scandal or government corruption because they're at higher risk of public reaction. They are more associated with higher accountability and disapproval from voters. Women face stronger consequences because female politicians are judged more harshly compared to men. Based on these negative effects, women in power are more likely to avoid corruption. One example is Katie Hill, a congresswoman who had to resign after being accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. On the other hand, Bill Clinton had an affair with an intern during his time as president, yet he remained in office. The double standard in politics is clearly shown in these two examples, but unfortunately, there's more tolerance for men misbehaving than for women. Lastly, equality plays an important, crucial role in promoting social well-being and community stability. It has been proposed that the empowerment of women tends to reduce child neglect and mortality, decrease fertility and overcrowding, and expand social concerns and cares. Since women are more commonly primary caregivers in families and communities, when they gain control and independence in their lives, they can provide healthy relationships to their loved ones. An extra year of female schooling increases wages by 10 to 20% and has been suggested to reduce family fertility by 5 to 10%. Educated women tend to have fewer children, and this happens because education increases awareness and family planning. But some argue that women tend to choose lower paying careers because they're more physically and mentally, no, less physically and mentally fragile than men. According to this view, differences in strength and endurance make women less suitable for demanding or high pressure jobs, which leads to a greater pay gap. However, this argument is based on stereotypes rather than evidence. Research by American Progress article consistently shows that women are equally capable of performing in high demand, high stress, and physically challenging careers when given equal training and opportunity. In conclusion, gender equality is more than a moral issue. To help we can achieve leadership and equal pay, we can create a world that values talent over gender. This begins by giving women equal access to education, training, and career opportunities. Workplace should ensure that pay is fair and transparent so that women earn the same as men for all the jobs. We must challenge outdated stereotypes that suggest leadership is only for men and instead celebrate women's voices and abilities. By supporting fair policies, mentoring programs, and work-life balance, we can open more doors for women to lead and inspire change. Closing the gender gap increases productivity, builds trust in our government, and promotes sustainable growth for everyone. By empowering women and empowering nations and embracing gender equality, it isn't just the right thing to do, but it's a smart thing to do for the future of our world. Thank you. I can take questions now.
Okay, have you ever like worked in a place where you felt that as men were like higher up than you?
No, but I do feel like I used to work at a work industry place, a food industry place, and I felt like the customers treated men differently than us females, just in the sense where I feel like they just felt like it was more professional with a man and they can be less professional with us girls.
How does gender equality benefit both men and women?
Well, I said it in one of my points earlier that when more people work like in a business, like more work is being produced and that helps our economy because everyone earns more money. So it not only helps and benefits companies, but it benefits our economy worldwide.
What do you think is like the biggest barrier in achieving gender equality today?
I feel like in the government, especially like in legislation, like trying to get like bills passed over just like equal pay in general. I feel like women's voices in government are very like dimmed down. They're not as loud as the men in our government.
Um, if if you could, I'm sorry. It's like it's. I was thinking about my question the whole time. If you could like, if you were the president, um, like, would d- okay. Oh, I have a good question. If so, you know how you have to be like a certain age to be president? Do you think that you would be the first female president if you were able to be president? Like, do you think it's that bad? If you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, to become president, you need a lot of
No,
experience.
like say you got all the experience, but you just need the age. Like, do you think in the next 10 years we'll have a female president kind of thing, you
I
know?
mean, I hope we do. I hope that like our country like advances in the fact that they can accept to have a woman president. So to answer your question, yes, I do hope that in 10 years we have a woman president. I don't know if it's not gonna be me, but I hope at some point we do.
I think you should think big, you know?
Thank you.
Hi everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about something I hold near and dear to my heart, which is the ending of animal cruelty and protecting the animals out there who don't have their own voice. I think almost everyone here listening can agree that animals deserve kindness, love, and care. And my mission is to make this possible someday. The hard truth is, millions of animals around the world suffer from neglect, abuse, or being abused in industries that don't treat their animals humanely. This topic is one that I'm very passionate about as I soon hope one day to practice at a vet clinic. There are all reasons as to why I believe in supporting the Humane Society of the United States, or HSUS, because it is a way we can actually make a difference. HSUS's mission is to push for real change by fighting animal cruelty and rescuing animals from bad situations. Every year, millions of cats and dogs are left abandoned, abused, and trapped in horrible places like puppy mills that treat these sweet creatures like they are disposable objects. According to the Humane Society of the United States, these puppy mills trap dogs into tiny, disgusting cages where they force them to overbreed until they are sick. They are given no medical care or just basic care and love. And although we may not immediately think about it, it's not just to cats and dogs, it's other animals like wildlife animals, farm animals, and animals used for animal testing. Most of us see things online and feel heartbroken and feel out of control when it comes to making a change. But here's the thing, HSUS offers us a chance to do that. The Humane Society of the United States uses multiple strategies, big or small, to stop animal cruelty. They shut down puppy mills, rescue these animals from their bad situations, and help pass laws to stop this from happening for good. HSUS even goes as far as providing educational programs to teach people about cruelty-free living and make them think twice before purchasing a product that's not cruelty-free. For example, a report from the Journal of Applied Animal Welfare Science shows that donations to animal welfare organizations and community involvement directly help the number of adoptions and rescues each year. Although it may not seem like it, small actions do matter. Something as simple as donating a few bucks, volunteering at an animal shelter in your free time, or reporting an HSUS campaign, reposting an HSUS campaign on Instagram makes a huge difference. When all of this adds up, it really does become a huge force for change. I believe that we all do have a moral responsibility to protect animals, whether we like to admit it or not, because they cannot speak for themselves. I believe that by supporting HSUS, you are ensuring that you are doing your part in protecting animals' well being. And honestly, I think that it really does remind all of us that having compassion is the most powerful force. By each person making one tiny change, whether that's volunteering, donating, or just spreading awareness, it all adds up to create great change. I think I like to think of this as a chain reaction. One person reposts an Instagram post, and then 10 more people respond to it or repost it, and then 10 more people encourage 10 more people to do that, and so on and so on. And that is how I believe real change begins. Research from HSUS's annual impact report shows that with community support, they have helped pass more than 100 animal protection laws nationwide, as well as saved thousands of animals. That change only happens, though, when people care enough to get involved. Now, I know that some people think right away, oh, it doesn't matter, my donation's too small, or if HSUS is this huge organization, what is my help going to do? The truth is HSUS cannot continue without this ongoing support, and they cannot keep advocating for stronger animal protection laws, fund their education system, or just continue their rescue missions. Every single person's effort counts. And although you may not be going and rescuing a dog from a puppy mill yourself, you are supporting the people who do, and you are now a part of saving that animal's life. The Humane Society of the United States is about creating a positive world of love, empathy, compassion, and respect, not just about helping animals. So, my challenge for you all today is to do one tiny step. Volunteer at an animal shelter here in Boca, share an HSUS post on your Instagram, or even donate a few dollars on their page. I know these actions may seem small and may feel like you aren't making a change, but I can promise you this. Together, these changes are going to make one big wave of effects that are going to change animal and human lives forever. We have to be the voice for those who can't speak for themselves. And the day we all stand up and do that is when real change begins. So let's make a difference. Thank you. Okay, I can take questions now.
Okay. Do you think it's like more like I always hate when people do this, but when they like buy animals compared to adopt, like do you think it's more beneficial to adopt and it helps out better than like buying from big companies that have dogs for like over $3,000?
Yes, I definitely do think adopting is better because by continuing to support these like breeders who keep breeding animals to sell them, they're just going to keep making more money and continue to do it whenever there's so many animals that are now in kill shelters and they end up being killed because they don't have enough space to keep this large fluctuate of animals coming in. So yes, I do believe that adoption is the way to go.
How can communities help like with protecting animals from the abuse?
So I think that because of this organization, HSUS, that you can do your part, even if it's small or big, just by going on their page and donating money. Like, I know that not all of us can just like every day go to an animal shelter and help care for these animals. So, just doing something small, like donating money to their page, these people do go out and rescue these animals and take them out of bad situations. Or if you do want to like help out more, going to the animal shelter and helping care for them and feed them and give them food, water, whatever. So, yes, I think that's a great way to help.
Would you consider like zoos or like, for example, like SeaWorld, like animal cruelty because I know a lot of that's like a very controversial thing because it's like amusement parks, but they're kind of like putting on like shows that have to do with animals. So I'm just like wondering your opinion on that.
Yes, so I definitely do think that it is animal cruelty. I watched a documentary when I was younger. It was called Blackfish, and it basically showed the whole side of SeaWorld and what those animals actually have to endure. And there's a lot of facts, and it shows that like what the orca whales endure during captivity, like how it affects them. And yes, I do truly believe that going to somewhere like SeaWorld or going to the zoos and like supporting it, you're helping participate to the animal cruelty because they're just going to keep wanting to domesticate these animals because it brings them money.
So my turn.
Yes.
Um, or like, okay, what do you suggest people who want like a very specific breed do rather than buying from a store?
So I think we actually, like my family, they really wanted a golden doodle as a pet. And instead of using a regular breeder, there's a lot of like Facebook pages or Instagram pages or websites where they have rehoming for that certain breed of animals. So like my mom was able to do her research and look up on Facebook like rehoming for golden doodles because she wanted that animal breed. So I do think that there is a lot of options for people that do want a certain breed. And I think that like a lot of us think that like pit bulls or those type of animals are in shelters, but I think we'd be really surprised to find out that there's a lot more breeds than we think that there is. And I think all sorts of animals get rehomed every day. So I think just like doing the research on Facebook pages and Instagram, you'll be able to find like a certain breed that you want.
Uh,
Okay. So I think, does anyone want to say anything before I end it? Okay.